Milli Pod Fam, before we get started, I got to give a special shout out to my guy Herman Hudson of the Hudson Mortgage Team, powered by Fairway Mortgage. If you're looking to refinance or to purchase your first home or to purchase a home in general, you got to hit up my guy Herman Hudson. You got to hit up my guy Herman because him and his team have over 20 years of experience in conventional, FHA, VA, first-time home buyer experience, and also down payment assistance. So it's only right. So with all that being said, 3 Milli Pod Fam, before we get back into the show, let the Hudson team help you mortgage your future.
Coach Evan, hey, how you doing, man? You good?
Man, I'm good. How about you?
Good, man. Good, man. Blessed. No complaints at all. I appreciate it.
That's the name of the game. I like your hat.
Hey, thank you. Hey, likewise, we're on the same page. We're on the same page, man. Thank you. Thank you. Man, from seeing your page, everything that you do, it is amazing. So we are extremely happy, man, to have you on the platform. And it's about to be a really, really good discussion.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it. And I just want to make sure, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, it's all good.
Because I'm doing this. I went home to visit my family. So I'm at my mom's house. So I don't have my setup.
There's
so
no
I like
sweat.
make it happen.
Yeah.
I got my computer's on the shoebox right now. My phone's propped on it. So it's kind of like,
Hey,
you know,
making
we're
it
going to
happen.
make it. That's the name of the game. Make it
Yes,
happen.
sir. Hey,
What's
it's
up,
all
Jordy?
good. It's all good. Nah, you good, man.
I see
You are
can
good.
feel your faces in.
Yes, sir, man. From scrolling on your page, seeing what you do, I love the movement, the game that you give. When it comes to being an entrepreneur, how did you start in that journey?
So honestly, I'm probably like many people out here now in this day and age. You just found a craft, found something that you were good at, that you love to do, and then you actually just kind of stumbled into entrepreneurship. It was never something that I ever intended on doing. If I'm honest, like how I'm a planner in my mind, working for myself, it was never on that list. It was like get a 6-figure job, have this much in savings, put this much to the side, retire here, and then boom, that was going to be life. That was what I planned on life. And when I kind of recognized that I had some skills that were profitable, that I could really do some stuff with, man, 5 years ago, I just kind of started feeling my way through. So I didn't even recognize I was an entrepreneur. I was just Evan with an idea and a skill set, and I was just putting it to use, not even really seeing that, you know, this could be like my meal ticket. This could be the thing that opens up life for me. This could be like my lifeline. I never saw it.
Yeah.
And here I am 5 years later, still peeling on through this thing, as I like to say.
That's powerful, man. And, you know, speaking on monetizing our skill sets for young creatives and entrepreneurs who are afraid to take that leap of faith, like how you took 5 years ago, how do we build up that confidence and that courage to say, yo, I can do this?
Yeah. So, you know what, honestly, man, I think the first thing is kind of stepping out of, I call it comparison, but I think the new term for comparison is imposter syndrome. Like, you know, I can be honest, like when I was coming on through, like it was that long ago, social media and the flex culture, the moving and shaking, showing you everything I'm doing culture was not as prevalent. So I was kind of building my business in a day and age where people were just doing their thing to a certain degree. You know, the flex wasn't so forward. So now, man, I would say to anybody who's trying to make that jump, man, don't get caught up in the flex. I'll be honest with you, this entrepreneurship life, this journey is a lot of fun, but it is like one hell of a roller coaster. Can I say that on here?
Yeah, you good. Okay. You good.
It's like one hell of a roller coaster. Some days it is great. Some days it is like, get me off this thing fast, you know? And so preparing for that. And also I would even start by just kind of recognizing if your skill set is profitable. Now, one of the things that I do with my clients, because I really do believe everybody can be entrepreneurial, but an entrepreneur, no. Because you can be entrepreneurial and if you make a couple extra $1,000s on your job and you desire to open, you know, get your first investment property, or you kick some money into somebody's bar, hookah lounge, barbershop, that to me is an entrepreneurial endeavor. But like a full-time entrepreneur is where you're building and doing business. Everybody's not cut out for that. Everybody's not prepared for that, and especially in a day and age where, I mean, the money is out there. Don't get me wrong. You can make money doing just about everything, but it's a whole nother wiring of your mind, your perspective, your movement, your discipline that goes into being an entrepreneur, and especially a full-time entrepreneur. And especially if you're going to be a full-time entrepreneur with something that is growing, it's a whole different ball game. So I would always tell somebody, just like, take your time, pace yourself. One of the things that I love to share is the fact that, you know, a lot of people are in a rush to quit their job and to What else they want to do? Quit their job. They want to quit their job.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
it. Yeah.
and I do understand that. I know what it's like to work a job that you are not so fond of, that you're a little irritated by, that you know that you can recognize is beneath you. But man, if I'm honest, I've been doing this almost 5.5 years. I just went full time a year and a half ago.
Wow.
Yeah, no, maybe almost 2 years. But I
It
took
was
my
a
time.
process.
Yeah, I took my
Yeah.
time and I worked
Yeah.
my 9 to 5. I worked at a 9 to 5. I had a 9 to 5. I also taught at a university, and I
Mm.
had my business because I recognized that, like, if I really want to do this thing at some point, or if I'm ever going to consider doing this thing at some point, discipline has to be my best friend.
Mm.
It's got to be the thing that I can do every single day and do it well no matter what. So
Mm.
I always tell, take your time.
Mm.
Don't jump off your 9 to 5. But if you're going to jump off your 9 to 5, jump off after you
Mm.
can see on paper,
Jeez.
not just your earning potential, but
Mm.
that you've met and matched. And I can be honest, like sometimes when you really step out the boat and jump, that's when you find out what you're made of, because you recognize, I have no other choice but to work it. And
Mm.
I do think that's necessary for some people, but that shouldn't be as common of a story as it is.
Yeah, everybody's quitting their job.
I'm
Yeah.
like quitting your job, thinking in my head, like you don't even have your
Mm.
like give it a give it a little time before you quit that job.
That's facts. That's
Yeah.
facts. And for people that's working that job that they hate, how do we weather that storm? Because I know it can be
Yeah.
extremely tough for people who have creative minds, people who are entrepreneurs in
Hmm.
spirit. So how do you fight through that every single day when you're clocking in early in the morning, late at night? How do you do it?
It's two things, man. So these are
Mm.
two things that I've done, and I will preach this until I cannot preach anymore. The first thing is you got to really identify the fact that that job is just the source of funding for your dream.
Mm.
I tweeted that maybe a year ago, and it's probably, I think I say some pretty good stuff, but for some reason that tweet went around the world. I'm like, but it makes sense. Like, let the job that you hate be what it is, a funding channel for your dream. And honestly, when you lock into those kind of perspectives, that you know what, this 9 to 5 job, I hate it, but this thing's going to help me put my dream into motion. It makes you be able to stomach stuff. It shifts your perspective. It gives you a level of tolerance and patience. And then most importantly, you are able to understand the space and the season that you're in. Like, quitting that job ain't always a thing, but allowing that job to fund your dream means, you know what, okay, so cool. So I'm not gonna go buy another pair of J's this month. They've been re-releasing these same J's for 20 years now. I
Yeah.
don't need that. You know what? I can lay off the Hennessy this weekend. I don't need to smoke hookah with my boys. I don't need to go to brunch. I don't need to do all these high ticket items that we do on the weekends to kind of fund our fun. No, I got a dream I got to fund. So my fun can wait. But
That's
this dream, whatever. So once you start to kind of recognize that this job is just to fund your dream, it messes with your stewardship. You feel bad when you buy J's. You feel bad when you go buy a $31.99 hat.
Yeah.
Because do I really need that? What is that going to add to the value of what I'm trying to build and trying to produce? And once you start to kind of really sit and those thoughts start to sit on you, you can't do what you want to do like how you usually would swipe that card.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work the same. So the first thing, of course, is definitely allowing yourself to be okay with the fact that this job is just to fund your dream. And the second thing, and I think it's probably the biggest thing when it comes to kind of putting this thing out. No, it's not the biggest thing. It's just one of them. Stewardship.
Yeah.
Just start saying no to stuff.
Jeez.
Just start saying no to stuff. And I'll give you one more. This is the one that I love. So when it comes to 9 to 5 jobs, this is what helped me to build in the midst of that. I had this concept that I believe is called split energies. Now I didn't make it up, I didn't borrow it, so I'm not really sure where, but it came to me one night in a dream. And I recognized that, what happens is we'll go our 9 to 5s, and because this thing pays us this salary, we will honestly give them everything we have, sometimes every day. Yeah. And when you clock out, because you expelled all of your energy, you have nothing left to put into the thing that you love or the thing that you're building. Or if you do have some energy, it's like 10% left. And so that way your brain is not fresh, your thoughts aren't fresh, you're more so kind of doing and not necessarily really being fully engulfed in it. So I did something that I honestly think that most people should do. I stopped giving my 9 to 5 100% of me.
That's good.
I said the max you all will get from me is 70%. That means I'm gonna be on time, I'm gonna take my break, and when I'm out, I'm out. And when I became okay with giving my 9 to 5 70% of me and committing that other 30% to me, I now had 30% of a mind, of a brain, and a passion and energy to fuel me when I got off. So think about it. If you give your job 100% of you every day, you've been up since 6 o'clock, you got to get there by 8. You have to fight traffic. You got to get in there. Your supervisor's stupid. The lady on the cubicle, the lady on the cubicle beside you she brought tuna, and
Being
now the
nosy.
office smells, and now you can't text. You know,
Yeah.
all these things are going on, and by the time 5 o'clock hits, 5:30, you like, I cannot deal with this. You want to go. You want to take all of that stuff home, and now you want to start to build your thing. And now you're building it around bitterness because you're frustrated because of the day. So that means you're not even thinking through. You're thinking like little things like, how can I make this money real quick so I can leave this job? When you don't build a business just to make money, not depending on how your belief system is set up, you build a business to impact people and change lives, you'll always make money. Yeah. But if your thing is just money, you're really going to have to always work harder than what you probably could or should, because your focus is simply just the easiest thing to acquire, which is money. So those are my 3 things, but that last one for sure, splitting your energy. I don't give anything except let me not say that. At that time frame, I gave 70% of my energy to work, sometimes 60, sometimes 50. But I knew that whatever was left when I got home, that went into what I loved and what I was building. And man, that helped situate me for success.
What you're saying is so important because you were pretty much drawing boundaries. So when it comes to life, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, which you probably experience with friends, family, people who's always trying to drain you, how do we draw those boundaries?
The term is no.
The term is no. That's it. That's
Let
it.
me tell you something, man. I didn't do that well in the beginning. I did not do that. I'm one of those people that kind of probably like most of the people that are watching, when I'm into something, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that kind of created this life where I was either one side or the other, one side or the other. But the goal, like honestly, when it comes to building business and building anything, especially, it's just balance. You got to be able to say no. Hey, you know what? The no means I can't go waste my energy on Friday night with the guys this weekend, because I know that Saturday I'm getting up. I'm taking George Pitt's finance class. He just hopped on the IG Live. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of really being able to say yes to things, no to things, but really kind of most importantly putting yourself first. I think a lot of people in the business building stage forget to put themselves first. And that means prioritize. That's everything from your stewardship, where you put your money, where you put your time, where you put your energy, what you put your brain to. Because most of us, if we read more, it would kind of curtail some of the things that these challenges that we have. That reading the information, the answers are sometimes just trapped inside of a book that we have not had the chance to uncover because we're so busy doing everything else.
That's true.
So boundaries, that term, no. It has been the thing that has opened doors for me. It's closed doors for me. It's gotten me sleep. It's gotten me peace. It's gotten me rest. And it's even gotten me money by being able to say no. I learned how to say no early on. So now it's like if a client or a customer does not fit the scope of what it is I'm doing or building, that no I can give is just to, hey, thank you so much. I love what you're doing. Congratulations going forward. But at this time, I'm not a good fit for you.
Jeez.
I may or may not give you a few other reference points for you to go, but I do believe that, learning how to say no early on allowed me to situate myself for success.
That's a bar. And earlier you said something too that was great. Make discipline your best friend.
Best
many
friend.
people aren't disciplined. People are on social media trying to get the bag, but not knowing, like, y'all don't know, Coach Evan, he had to go through 5 years of this, or he had to stay up until 6 in the morning, but all you see is just all the posts. So how do we get more disciplined?
Real easy. You got to recognize what's most important. Now, I'm not one of those people that does things. I don't subscribe to the yearly calendar. I believe that wholeheartedly my life is situated around seasons. So in certain seasons, I can do certain things. And in certain seasons, I cannot do certain things. Like I'm in a season right now where I can have a little bit more fun. I can have I can be a little bit more relaxed. But I know Q3, it won't be that. So it's all about really just honestly just situating yourself for success, and making discipline your best friend is really as simple as incorporating it into your life. Something as simple as, now, one thing I do every day. Now, I don't always do it at 9 o'clock in the morning like I desire to, but I'm going to get up and I'm going to work out. Now, I'm not a fitness enthusiast. I'm not a trainer. I'm not even a nutritionist. I'm somebody that needs to be in the gym. But what that does, it keeps me on some sort of regulated routine. I know that because of culture and society, that routines sometimes have such a negative connotation to it, but you can have a healthy routine.
Mm.
Like my healthy routine includes me doing maybe a few small personal development things every morning. That could be something as simple as me listening to something on the way to the gym, or
Yeah.
or reading, whatever it may be. But I get to the gym because it helps me get myself going and flowing. Then when I come home, shower, I'm ready to roll. So I think discipline, it's a choice. I know it's a choice. I don't even think. I know it's a choice. You have to choose discipline, because if not, you're choosing to basically wander and squander everything that you have.
That's
So
fact.
you just got to choose discipline, and then most importantly, do those things that makes it relatable and that can work for you. I would
Mm.
love to say this is the formula for discipline, but everybody's life is different.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Lauren Ward is probably a morning person, or
Mm.
may not be. I'm not a morning person. I can sleep till 10, get to the gym by 11 o'clock. But let me tell you something, around 10:30, 11, oh, my creativity is flowing, my
Yeah.
thoughts are flowing. So I
Yeah.
recognize that. So I don't have to do the work to try to make myself something that I'm not. I
Mm.
embrace where I am and build a structure and a system that works around where I am and how I work best in that season. And I
Right.
do what I have to do. Now, there may come a time where your season is where my life, I'm situated based around seasons where I'm not working 9 to 5 every day. So I don't have to situate myself to get up at 7 a.m. to do these things. I can do these things at 11 or 12, but whatever your season requires of you, you got to be willing to make those necessary adjustments, because discipline honestly is a choice. But if you choose discipline, I wholeheartedly believe you have no choice but for success
Mm.
in any situation. There are moments in time, man, where I hate going to that gym, but I know when I get there, it's kind of, I'm gonna do this hour and a half. But I know at the end of the day, now that day may not be that day, but at the end of the day, I'm going to have some sort of reward. That could be a
Exactly.
pound loss. That could be me
Mm.
feeling better. That could be
Mm.
me on the treadmill, not really recognizing that I'm in a space where now I'm getting fresh ideas for the next
Mm.
business venture or for my next client. But all that stuff instantly starts to give me some sort of reward. So I don't want to give too much, but man, I even look at life. How I look at my life is not on a year calendar; it's on seasons. I really allow that to be my fuel, because I
Mm.
recognize that when my seasons change, I have to change, and
Mm.
whatever that may look like. And so it takes the pressure off of me. I don't feel structured and committed to this full 365-day calendar. I don't feel the pressure that everybody else feels,
Mm.
because I'm like, you know what? My season may be a lot longer than a year, or it may just be a 3-month interval. That's
Mm.
okay, but I'm gonna
Wow.
embrace that thing while I have it.
I love that. I love that. And staying on being in the gym, I know it's hard. Like when you're working out, you're sweating, you're tired. But
Yeah.
what do you get from the gym that you can like possibly translate in life? You know, when it comes to facing adversity, when it comes to not feeling like being there, grinding through it, all those different factors at one time.
Man, I tell myself this every day when I'm by myself or when I'm with my trainer. It's heavy, but it's good for me.
Mm.
And I'm like, I'm lifting. So guess what?
Yeah.
It's heavy, but guess what? It's good for me. It's building me, it's strengthening me, it's preparing me for all the stuff that I want to do next. So I tell myself that every day when I'm like, it's getting hard. I'm like, all right, you keep putting stuff on this bench, take it off. I'm like, it's heavy, but it's good for me. And
Mm.
that right there allows me to take that to every part of my life. Certain situations or certain seasons will bring about heavy things, but you know what? It's heavy, but it's good for me. It's teaching me a lesson. It's reminding me of some stuff. It's making me think more. It's making me do a lot more self-assessment, whatever it may be. It's heavy, but it's good for me.
Ah, that's great stuff, man. On your website, I love reading about vision birthers, what you're doing with
Yeah.
that. It's really, really dope. Can you speak on the vision behind that, the mission, how this started?
Yeah, man. So Vision Birthers is actually the company that I started 5 years ago. And it
Mm.
really started off as me just kind of putting together conferences for people, because I got sick of going to stuff where you didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, I thought we registered to learn.
Trying to take
And
the
then,
money.
and yeah, and then it's kind of like, I'm not learning. You don't even have a handout for me. So that's where it all started. But man,
Mm.
in 5 years, it's turned into me being able to walk hand in hand with individuals to basically towards success and whatever they wanted to do business wise. And I love it. It went from just me helping people like put together a planner or planning a conference or putting together the basics of a brand, to
Mm.
now I'm like able to teaching courses to like charter schools, the teachers in charter schools, and
Eesh.
I'm doing some things in lanes that I never ever considered. But it all started with Vision Birthers, and my goal and my whole goal with Vision Birthers was to be a one-stop shop.
Mm.
I know what it's like to have to go here for this thing, here for that thing, and I was like, I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of communicating my vision, my thoughts, my feelings, my goals to 6 different people to get 6 different things done. No. And I said,
Mm.
you know what, God, I never want anybody else to have to go through that again. And so I set in that moment, not realizing it, I was setting myself up to become a boss, not like the girl boss situation that's popular. I'm talking about a real boss where it's like, I've got 6 people that work under me now, all because in my mind, I'm like, I want to be a one-stop shop to do what? To help people. So not only can you sit down with me and I strategize about your business and expansion or building your brand or curating your brand or hitting refresh on your brand, you don't have to go anywhere else for us to get your website designed, your flyers created, your videos edited, your content written. You got a book, great, I can publish it. Like all of that stuff now is in one smooth circle because I sat down and I said, you know what? I want to create a one-stop shop. I put people before money. If I was trying to just get money, I wouldn't have built my business. I wouldn't have even thought about my business and prayed for my business the way it's turned out to be. But because my mindset was, I want to make this easier for somebody else because it was hard as hell for me. Turned into me having I can say this now, a 6-figure company.
That's amazing, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
And again, like what you're saying is so powerful because now with this new age entrepreneurship thing that's going on, so many people are just trying to finesse. So many people are in it for them. So hearing you say, yo, I'm trying to save people time so that they don't have to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
How does that feel to know that you're actually serving people and it's not just, hey, I got to look out for Evan? How does that feel for you?
It feels gratifying. It makes me smile. It makes me get up every day. It makes me take meetings that I don't necessarily feel like it, but I get on there, man, and I give it my all because I recognize that I am moving in a part of my life's purpose. A lot of people, and I think that it's one of those questions that many people ask or you try to figure out, like, what am I on earth to do? And I recognize, and my belief is that we are all on earth to help people. But from there, you have to find your individual lane in which you will help people. I found my lane, and I recognize that I've always loved people, always want to see them better than what I left them, or better than what they were when I met them. But I said, okay, you know what? What is my skill set? What is my passion? What do I have on the inside of me that I can help them do? I got a business degree. I've been managing stuff for years. I've been building stuff for years. It made sense. So to answer that, I know I get up every day and I dive directly into purpose. Now, it doesn't always feel good, but I can't, and I had to put my time in. I've taken some major L's, but I have a gratification every day that I can honestly say everyone doesn't have yet. And I pray everyone gets a chance to experience life like this. Not the flexibility, not the money, not the time, not the cool pictures, not the trips, and not all that kind of stuff, but more so just to really be able to say, you know what, I'm getting up every day, and I know what I'm doing is purpose for me in that season.
That's good stuff, man. And, with helping people with editing, with branding, when it comes to building our brands, right? So many people have a brand now, right? So how do we
it's like passing out brands at the gas station.
Right. So how do we know, A, if I do have a brand, and B, how to actually execute when it comes to the content and actually have like a content strategy, not just posting just to post?
Man, I that's a great question, and I'm so glad you asked that. And I pray that everybody that catches this or the replay hears this. Before you go into, I'm building a brand, I really want you to ask yourself, do I have a business or do I have a hobby? A lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with it, it happens. A lot of people are building businesses or have started businesses or are contemplating building businesses on things or out of things that are really designed to be personal hobbies.
Jeez.
Hobbies are personal. That's personal outlet. That is for you. A business is for other people. Now, sometimes they do mix together, but I think that's the first question. Before you pick a logo and a color scheme, ask yourself, is this for me supposed to be my business or a hobby? I did a training with a pastor that has like a conglomerate of entrepreneurs in his church. And the first thing I asked him, I was like, are y'all in business? Or y'all trying to build businesses? Or are you trying to basically make your hobbies profitable? And I was like, it doesn't work like that. Because a life with no personal outlets and no personal ways to release is a life that is about to spiral out of control, if it hasn't already. And when you recognize that, you can say things like, you know what, I love to sew, I love to bake, I love to cook, I love to clean. And this for me is a personal thing. It's like, I feel better than that. There's a good chance that may not be the business that you need to start. Or if you do start it, it needs to be something that you build without you a part of it, because you never want to risk losing your personal outlet / hobby trying to make money out of it. Because A, you won't make enough money out of it, and then you'll hate your hobby, when in all actuality, that was the thing that was really put here or put on inside of you to help you kind of weather through the storms of life and the journey of life. So I will first start by saying that, is your business a business, or is it a hobby that you should allow to be a hobby? Now, on to the good part. If you are building a brand and you know it's supposed to be something, I'm going to ask you this now, like, how profitable is this going to be? I think that people jump into branding and wanting to build a brand based upon what they've seen, and they have not done any research to see, you know what, how profitable is my venture? Like, what are my competitors making any money? Do I have any competitors? And then from there, I think you can backtrack and then start to build a brand by first identifying who your people are. As much of a one-stop shop as my company is, my company may be for everybody, but Coach Ev is not for everybody.
There you go.
Now, I can build your church's website. I can build your nonprofit's website. I can create you a brand board. We can do all those things, but that does not mean that me and my intellect and my resource of my mind is needed for what you're doing. You're not for everybody. And so identifying who you're for helps you to honestly, most importantly, speak their language. Now, and this is a thing that I tell everybody that I talk to or work with. If you are struggling trying to find your target audience, 9 times out of 10, your target audience is the old you.
Jeez.
That is something that I should probably charge you $1,000 for, but I'm telling you, especially if you're building something that is centered around a person or a specific message or a specific story, your target audience is generally the old you. Now, if you're a cleaning service, that's not for you. But anything that is situated, around a personality or a service-based business that is like targeted towards a person, it's typically for the old you. Now, if you don't know how to build something that the old you would have needed to not be where you are right now, or just kind of skip some steps, you probably shouldn't go into business. But when you come into it with the rationale, you know what, I'm building this for the me of yesterday, simply ask yourself, what did me yesterday need? And you'll quickly recognize it's not pretty photo sheets. It's not pink and orange quotes. Sometimes it's real value, it's real life, it's real lessons, it's the willingness to share mistakes. So let that be the basis for your content and your strategy, knowing who you're for, talking only to them, and then giving them what you know that they need.
That's amazing, man. I'm getting a free game right now. Aaliyah Rose asks, what do you do to compartmentalize them? So I'm assuming it's the hobby that's mixed in, but I'm not sure. But if you can answer that.
Yeah, I think I can. Ali, I think it's a beautiful question. What do you do to compartmentalize them? You separate them simply. I have passions, like, for example, I went to college on a tennis scholarship. You probably wouldn't know that if you went to my Instagram page. I swear in my mind, I still dope and I'm a rapper, but I'm not. And so, but in the midst of that, there was a season in life where I was like, I need to make some extra money. I went to college on a tennis scholarship. I could be training some kids. That's $75 a pop, an hour, easy money. And I got out there and I did it for about a month and a half. And I recognized that this was pulling me away from something that I was able to go to when everything else might have been good and or bad. And so what I can say, what is my go-to to do that makes me feel better when things are both good and or bad? That's a hobby that needs to probably be untouched. So what I did was I quit. I said, hey, you know what? I've been enjoying these kids. I'm enjoying the money, but I have now lost a hobby or an outlet of mine that I needed when things were either good and or bad. Because I'm out here not to exercise, not to burn calories, or to try to work off the meal I just ate, or just to have a good time and relax. I'm out here now having to put the energy and the time into trying to teach somebody else something. Look, it's profitable. It was working, but it was not what was best for me in that season. So I would definitely say compartmentalizing based upon if it's something that you can do to relax you, or to release you when you're both in good and or bad times. Let that hobby stay there. Now, if it's something that you could profit off of, that you can build upon or build yourself out of, and if you are in a seasonal situation, I would say give it a shot. I'm a firm believer in making mistakes. Now, I embrace mistakes. Yeah, I'll make a mistake and be like, man, that was stupid. But I can always be able to say I tried. That's it. And people are so afraid of no and so afraid of getting rejected. I'm like, no, I'm gonna give it all I got, and if they reject me, the hell, it's okay. At least I now know that wasn't for me. Like when so many people are in search of purpose, I tell people all the time, when you're on that purpose journey, well, let's first do this because so many things can be purpose. Let's just start off by identifying what's not purpose, because that'll mark off. If you got a list of 10, what's not purpose will probably knock off like 6 things off that list every time. And so now instead of processing through 10 things, you're now only processing through 3 or 4. Allow less pressure, give you time to really think, give you time to explore, and then boom, you know, people are no more church conferences, no more books on purpose, no more webinars on purpose, because you recognize that, you know what, I'm in mine, or I'm right here next to mine, or I'm about to start in mine, or I know what mine is, and not necessarily trying to decipher through a list of 10 things. And majority of those were just whimsical moments for you, or could be whimsical moments for you.
That's great. And speaking on lessons on your page, I love how you spoke about learning lessons and God authorized it. Can you speak on that about accepting, learning, leadership, all of those factors at one time?
Man, you know, I have been in, I've had some seasons in the last 2 or 3 years that have really taught me some things that I had to just be like, damn, you know, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I needed it. I appreciate them. But one of the things and one of the seasons in life taught me is that, you know, because I call myself a believer and I follow Christ, that everything that happened to me has been authorized by God. And because I'm walking in my doing my best to walk in tandem and in partnership with him, if he's authorized something to happen in my life, that means it has 1 or 2 reasons, or possibly both. It's for me, to teach me something, to show me something, to open my eyes to something, or possibly it's to help somebody else learn something that I'm mature enough for them to handle, or mature enough for them to experience on my watch. So I think that when I made that tweet about the authorization, I just done a leadership training with the church. And, you know, I asked questions like, what's going on? And so they were, you know, some of the concerns that they were sharing about people kind of dropping the ball. And I was like, you know, I hear all that, but this is the thing. Sometimes you're mature enough to handle somebody else's mistakes.
Jeez, yeah.
Sometimes somebody else has been mature enough to handle my mistakes. My last boss, my last mentor, Pastor AD, his name is AD now, Adrian Davis. I made a lot of mistakes being like his brand manager, being his executive director, being like his communication specialist. I mean, I learned a lot of mistakes, and guess what? He was grace for me to be able to make mistakes under his leadership. So I recognized then that God authorizes some stuff. So that's my thing. I'm resting in the fact that I know whatever happens, that God authorized it. And so my job is always to that if I embrace the lessons that are for me fast or quickly, I can get what I need to do, and more so like getting the tools or the keys to unlock the next door. So that's my belief on authorization, just kind of like recognizing that everything is not happening to you. Some things are happening for you or for the people that you're connected to or doing life with.
That's great. And how do we be patient leaders? Because so many people are bosses now. And speaking on, you know, working with the pastor, having to learn. Like, how do we be patient as leaders and not try to be a boss all the time where we're snapping on people, firing people? How do we take our time?
Man, that's a great question. The patient leader. I think a patient leader first recognizes the fact that somebody at some point was patient with them. I've been in circles and talked to some fellow peers who are mean and just nasty to those that work alongside of them. And my first thought is always either A, they did not have a good leader, mentor, or former boss, or B, they're probably not qualified to sit in the seats they're sitting in right now. You can't tell me, but you know, a lot of bosses don't have people under them. So it's easy to be this person, you know. But if you are that person that is leading a group, whether it's a civic organization, a church, a volunteer group, don't be patient. That's recognizing that, you know, A, they're there, and we appreciate them being there, appreciate them lending their time, their gifts, their talents to help grow whatever we're doing. But really, most importantly, we're recognizing that, you know, at some point in time, you sat in that seat at some place and at some space. And it may not have been within this particular context, but at some point, you were a part of somebody else's dream team. So treat them how you want to be treated. I mean, it sounds so elementary, but it's one of those things that I think, and when it comes to business, it's really easy to forget. Treat people the way you would want to be treated. Respond to your customers and your clientele the way you would want them to respond to you. Like if somebody gets nasty with you at a restaurant and you're ready to throw a table or throw a chair or throw a drink,
Yeah.
you should recognize, okay, you know what? Let me not do that because I know the response it can get out of me, and I wouldn't want to provoke anybody else to respond like that towards me.
Mm.
Especially if it's being funneled through something that you claim that you love, aka your business.
That's right.
You can't be a business owner and be nasty. You
Yeah.
can't, especially not in the service-based industry. Now, if you, I don't know, selling some clothes or whatever, maybe you can be a little bit ruder. I don't know, but service-based, it's kind of like we have to. I remind business owners all the time. I know we've made it. Some of us we were making good money. We're growing in our influence and our reach. But do not forget that if these people stop buying, your life, it changes drastically. You know, so you should treat people with the courtesy, not if nothing else, but for the fact that they dictate your yearly earnings.
So right.
When you hit your profit and loss statement at the end of the month, it's gonna be show if they really rock with you or not. And some of those things you can change.
That's real talk. And as somebody who has 6 people working under them, how do you try to feed into each person? How do you do it?
You know, it is one of those things in this season I am learning. I don't even look at them as people most of the time. If any of them are on here, I kind of feel like they're like my family / my kids. So even like there are days when I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. I will make myself push through because I'm like, okay, you know what? If I don't do my part, they don't get their part. And I don't want to be responsible for that. So it makes me push. But honestly, it's taught me how to really navigate through probably what parenting looks like if I ever have some kids. Because, you know, you have to, everybody has a different learning style, has a different communication style. And my job as the CEO / boss or leader is to make sure that the vision and the assignment is clearly stated and shared so that it can be accomplished and completed. And so it was I know I have one of my team members, I won't call her name, but she's probably the one that'll watch the replay. We have to remind her for stuff. It's amazing. She's talented. Like like honestly, she is top tier. But I know that with her, I have to remind. There will be certain things that there are certain seasons where, you know what, boom, I won't have to remind as much, but then there's some that are not. But also as a boss, I'm able to start looking and say, you know what, okay, so my team member may have something going on personally. So because I look at you as more than just an employee or a contractor, let me make sure that I do my part within the week to randomly reach out. Hey, how's it going? Just checking in on you. Not ask you for any assignments. No, none of that. Just kind of saying, hey, how's it going? Hey, I thought about you. Or, you know, I believe in God, so I'm praying for you. Anything I can pray for specifically. And then now all of a sudden you're able to kind of identify what's going on and kind of like to know what to adjust and what not to, vice versa. So that is one of my strategies, just to really ask people how they're doing. Because if you don't know how they're doing, often you won't be able to understand why they're not able to produce at the levels that they're used to or that you're used to, or that they could. There's a lot of stuff happening in people's lives. The same way, you know, something's happening in yours, happening in mine, but oftentimes just the, hey, how you doing, how you feeling will help you to understand how to do, what to do. For me, it's always, okay, you know what, I can recognize you got a lot of personal weight on you this season. So that means that your creativity may not be super fresh this week. What does that mean? Any assignments that may be coming in, hold off on those. But assign it, because like that, you being assigned to that in our task management system could be like the thing that makes you go into, you snap, like, oh my God, because now you're overwhelmed. I'm like, you know, but because I've tested the waters the last 2 weeks and I've seen, you know, you have been communicating as normal or different things like that, I noticed that, you know what, just load the stuff up in the queue. Or sometimes split the assignments up. That's actually one of the things I did with my admin, who's like the backbone of my business. We split up one of our major projects that just came in so that nobody was overwhelmed. Because I personally feel like that some people on my team are navigating through the seasons of life. And I get it, because it's been me before. And it's me all the time, if I'm honest. So I'm like, you know what can we curtail? What can we move around? I'm even able to identify that my admin, and as excellent as she is, she moves like that with me. That's part of where I picked up the idea, you know what, let me start to, you know, because I never thought to do it, to kind of move like that. But I learned that is really one of the effective ways to grow and to lead a team, is to show them that you care for more than just what they produce. Now, of course, you're here to produce because that's how we get paid. But outside of that, when you show somebody that you're genuinely interested in their well-being, then that changes everything. My staff meeting, not this Monday, but the last Monday, I literally breezed through all of our stuff for the week in 5 minutes. And that's usually not it, because I wanted to know, what are your goals for quarter number 2? what did not work in quarter number one? What did you not do in quarter number one? I needed you to create your own, what I call badass affirmations, because I recognize that if you can speak the right stuff and sometimes encourage and motivate yourself, even when you don't feel like it, it changes your day. It changes what happens in your day. So I made a whole staff meeting, 2 hours dedicated to them as individuals. I made everybody go around on Zoom. Okay, so what do you have working? What's not working? What can we do? Because I'm like, we're all in this together. So not only I'm going to give everything I have, but I feel like I built a culture of people who do not mind doing the same thing for each other. So we're on there brainstorming, getting each other ideas, and it's kind of like, whew. So I think that part of, just learning how to lead people is really getting engulfed in their lives. Now, of course, if you got a major corporation, got a warehouse, that's not something you can do.
Yeah.
However, you can still instill that level, that culture of sometimes real just love and humanity. And kindness. You can instill that into your leaders, and so that way it doesn't always have to come from you. So I'm wholeheartedly. I looked on Instagram today, and one of my team members he does not post on Instagram, but the man is a crazy dope graphic artist. And so after I kind of put that charge in front of everybody, I looked at a comment today. One of our team members commented on his post and said, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you posting now. It looks good." And I'm like, it didn't have to come from me. I never even had to address it or bring it up, because somebody else said, by me creating that moment or space for everybody to see each other's value, they said, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna hold out. I'm gonna look out for you. I'm gonna give you a little encouragement, a little affirmation on the way." And I think that's the best way to lead a team, is to show them that you care more about not just about their skill set, but about who they are as a person.
Love that. Affirmations, manifesting, speaking it,
Yeah.
writing, seeing it. Can you speak on the importance of that? Because I know as an entrepreneur, a creative, that you have to write down goals for Q1, Q2, and actually execute goals. So if you can you please speak on that?
Yeah, man, I really believe that life and death and increase in opportunity rest in your tongue. If you say the right stuff, because I've said things that I've seen manifest, even when I really didn't believe them, but I recognize I've been saying this thing for 3 weeks now. At some point, it's become second nature. So that means it's become part of my norm. One of the things that I tell myself every morning is that I'm good at what I do. It may sound really small, but think about how many people are dealing with comparison or imposter syndrome. They forget that, hey, they may be good at what they do. It may appear as if their skill set is 10 times greater than mine. And it may be, but guess what? I'm still good at what I do. So now I went through a season where I had to kind of unfollow or mute all of the other business coaches that I feel like were kind of like my competition in my lane, because I was slipping into comparison. I was like, as well as I'm doing, I'm like, nah, I'm falling. I'm looking at their stuff, and I'm not able to celebrate them how I used to be. I couldn't always be like, "Oh man, that's dope. I love that." It was like, why am I not doing this? Or why am I not thinking so far ahead? And I was like, nope, that's not it. So I had to stop, reroute myself, and I went into the affirmation. I was like, let me pull out my affirmations, because what I tell myself and what I speak over myself is what I'll become, and it's what I'll have. So when they say things like, I'm good at what I do, I'm made for healthy love and relationships, money's coming to me whether I work for it every day. Money's coming to me every day whether I work for it or not. I mean that. So when somebody randomly cash outs me $200 and says, "Oh yeah, I forgot to pay something," or you know what, or just wanted to send you a blessing, or hey, you got an Amazon wish list, I'm like, it makes sense. Thanks. Yeah, I do. Here's my Amazon wish. I got a whole lot of stuff on there. But I recognize that my words situated me for some of those things start to happen. So now I don't, end of the month, I used to get nervous, like, okay, God, where the clients gonna come from? I need a new wave of clients. I don't do that anymore. So I'm like, you know what? I tell myself that money's gonna find me every day, whether I work for it or not. So guess what? That means everything's taken care of. I believe wholeheartedly that I'm doing right by my business and doing right by the people that work with me. So guess what? That means that God is going to look out for them just as much as he's going to look out for me. So I'm not worried or stressing about little things like that anymore. I'm more so thinking, okay, what should I be doing right now? So because my focus stays on what I should be doing right now, and me speaking every day, I'm good at what I do. Money's going to find me. Money's going to find me whether I work for it or not. Yeah. And I see that stuff start to manifest. My name is in rooms, and I get random calls and emails, and I'm like, who? But I'm not. But I'm not shocked as to who anymore, because I said this stuff. I said all of it. So now I'm not even really super shocked when certain things happen. I'm like, about time. I've been waiting on this one. I've been waiting on this one. I speak to you every day. Like, I even speak to my money every day. I believe everything on the earth has ears. I'm not a I used to be a pastor. Well, I'm still, I guess, still pastoral, but there's a story in the Bible that talks about when Jesus spoke to the mountain and the mountain moved. And
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, if he can speak to a rock hill,
Mm.
surely I can speak to money and tell money, what I'm going to do with you. And so that's why you should get here faster. I got a debt I want to pay off. I want to invest into this person. I want to sow into this person. I want to do this to this person. So money has to find me because I've said, I've got a plan for you and I've got something to do. So come on, hurry up. And then when stuff starts to come in, I don't have to wonder or get nervous or be excited about an increase. My increase already has an assignment. So therefore I can put it where it needs to go. And so then I'm on to the next thing. God, okay, God, I need about 5 stacks. And that 5 stacks may come by Cash App. It may come by me selling a service. It may come by me being a part of something, or it may come by me getting a download of an idea when I'm on the treadmill in the morning. Because I get those all the time. I'm like, you know what? There it is.
Yep.
I wanted 5K. God gave me an idea that can make me 50. So
that's good game, man. And Evan, just from hearing you speak, you sound very unselfish, which is a beautiful thing. When it comes to that, I think that contributes to being a successful business person.
Absolutely.
Business being great, phenomenal. What impact do you think that it will have on other entrepreneurs and creatives if they start being more unselfish?
I think, and well, first off, thank you for saying that, sharing that. I consider myself to be not selfish. I'll give the game away free, because I recognize that I do this thing. I've learned my lane, and I'm still learning my lane. So therefore, because I'm knowledgeable in the area that I'm called to or that I'm pushing into, I can give you a tip like your target audience is the old you. Now, somebody else may be paying, charging you $1,000 for a one-on-one session that's basically says the same thing. But I can give you that free because I gave you that, but I'm on to the next thing 3 years down the line, so I have no problem learning and giving what I have. But I also recognize this, that when you give, it comes back to you. And I relish in that. I honor that. I respect that. And I live that out. I right before this phone call, man, I was talking to one of the designers on my team. I want to gift somebody a website. And I was like, hey, man, like, how much you want to charge for this? Let me know. And he's like, no charge. If you say we're going to do this, I'm with it. And I'm like, the fact that level of generosity, not necessarily because he couldn't charge me, and I'm still not going to give him something for doing it. It was like, people saying, you know what, I'm going to match your generosity. I've seen that things are happening for you in life. And if you were doing this, I guarantee there's a reason behind you moving like this. And I'm seeing the reward in general, just by looking at you. Of course, I don't mind being a part. So I honestly believe that if more entrepreneurs were unselfish, especially with the information they paid thousands of dollars for, I think it would change everything. And I do listen, I've made investments into myself. I paid for executive coaches. I paid for some top tier programs that I'm like, I cannot believe they just took all that money out of my account at one time. But I recognize that was the investment I was supposed to make. I can give, if I did a 10-hour intensive, or 8 hours straight intensive for $2,000 on a Saturday, I guarantee you I learned something in that 8 hours that I could give away as a nugget on Instagram for free. Partially why? Most people are not going to read it. They're not going to retain it. Unless you make it a video, they really may not save it or go back to it. So guess what? I've done my part. I've shown myself to be a resource. They may not remember what I shared, but they remember that I shared something. And then what happens with that is like, oh yeah, that dude Evan do that. He that business stuff. Oh yeah, it's a dude I follow on Instagram. I'm gonna send you his page. Now I done gave all the answers to all the questions you had because somebody saw it and referred to me as a source and like somebody to listen to. Now they referred me somewhere, and that person just went to my Instagram and then booked a session. And now I've been able to give one-on-one strategy all because somebody shared my stuff who didn't read it, but they just knew that it was there.
Yeah.
But what do we look like holding on to information that could create a chain wave or a wave of like clients? It's like all because you paid $5,000 for something that I got $67,000 in student loans and a business degree. I think I learned enough in my 4 years of school to be able to tell somebody something about business.
Yeah.
And I got $67,000 worth of debt to prove it. But that's also going to be erased too, because I don't, that's on my affirmation list. My student loans are about to leave.
That's real, man. On your page 2, and staying on this very same point about being a well, being a source of life. And that goes, to the same point about giving game information.
Yeah.
For up and coming business coaches, which it's a lot out there, it's a lot of talented people, knowledgeable. if they are weary about, hey, I might share too much
Mm-hmm.
information, what words of advice would you have for them on that point?
Share it anyway.
Mm.
Because we're not just so in our minds we're competing to uh secure clientele
Yeah.
or to show ourselves to be more valuable than the next man or next woman. We got to recognize that you're competing there, but we also have to factor in we're competing with people. So in fact, we're competing with learning styles. We're competing with things like ADHD. We're
Mm.
competing with things like short-term memory.
Mm.
We're competing like all those things. Like it's what, 4 different learning styles. Audible. What is the other two? And it's a new one that just added. We're competing against somebody's retention. So me
Mm.
giving you information, as I just mentioned, me giving you a little information, 9 times out of 10 won't be retained. Now there will be people who retain it and apply it, but guess what? Those are the people that come back and say, you know what? Let me enroll in what you got going on because everything you've given me for free, I've put to work and I've seen it work.
Mm.
I gotta rock with you. I gotta sit with you. I gotta sit in front of you one-on-one. So yeah, they may finally book after a year $1,000 one-on-one session, but guess what? They have gotten $10,000 worth of increase because of the free tips you've given them. And they say, you know what? This person has it. This guy has it. This girl has it. So I say to all of those who are in the coaching lane or just in personal development or self-development, give the information. People are hungry. They're
Mm.
looking for answers. They're looking for solutions. They're looking for their lives to be better. And we have an opportunity to be that, to kind of be the kickstart for that. So don't be selfish. Don't hold that. Don't hold out off on it too long. Like give them something. Give them enough to get them going. And then of course, don't be afraid to charge your value,
Yeah.
charge your worth when
Yeah.
it's time for you to sit down one-on-one.
Yeah. And how do we tap into that too? Because there's so many people, when we first start with entrepreneurship, how much should I charge? And
Yeah.
especially with personal development, business coaching, like you're giving away thousands of dollars of information that you had to pay for
Uh-huh.
first. So
Yeah.
how do we know our worth? How do we not charge too much per se or too
Hmm.
low? So how do we find that?
Well, I think that a couple of things that we can easily look at, when the price is higher on something, the value is typically better.
Yep.
And then therefore there's a level of care, there's a level of excellence. So for example, there's a reason people go buy, I don't know, what is the last thing I bought? I'm not gonna say that because that's gonna show my expensive habits. There's a reason people will go buy a book bag out of the Louis store and they don't mind spending $2,000, but they won't go get a book bag from Marshalls or even Forever 21 or H&M.
Right.
And it's kind of like they rather invest the $2,000 instead of the one because value, the name behind it. We know that this thing signifies something. And then most importantly, we know that a $2,000 book bag is going to last us. That leather is going to
Durability.
last. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when it comes to situating yourself, you really just letting yourself be seen. Like, you know what? I'm durable. I have what it takes. I have what you need. And most importantly, what I give you is going to last. So when you think about that, kind of pricing yourself is not too hard, especially when you can add in, all of those kind of things. Like I'm giving you value. I'm giving you stuff that's going to last. Then on top of that, you are adding in like your experience. Now this is where it gets a little interesting because I've seen people price themselves really high
Mm.
and, without, sometimes the experience level to match that price point, sometimes the proven success to match some of those price points.
Mm.
They just kind of base it based upon what they see their competitors are. Now, that's not a bad strategy, but I do think that you should kind of have a little notoriety. Like for me, my business coach all the time refers to my prices as way too low.
Mm.
And I get it, but I understand that in this season, who I'm called to help kickstart can't afford my $597 package.
Yeah.
But I finally got my business coach to understand that I get it. You're at 365, you're planning for the year, we're setting metrics, we're setting goals, but you got to recognize and remember that the person that you're coaching here, my life is situated on seasons. And it's situated based upon who I'm called to help then. So yeah, I can charge you $107 for a strategy session. And I'm gonna give you $10,000 worth of information in that. But guess what? You'll be back.
Yeah. Wow.
And when you come back, that it may not be 107 again. It'll probably be back to 197 for the intro session. But guess what? Doesn't matter. Because once you come back a couple times, I'm going to offer to you, hey, you know what? I got Coach Ev on demand. I only take 5 people per quarter. You can jump in and I can be your personal strategist. We meet once a week for this amount of month.
Wow.
But it's all about just kind of, so I say set your price based upon your experience, your success, your education levels, and not just what competitors are charging. And also, but you got to identify who you're for in that particular season of life. I know right now I'm for the underdog. I'm for this quarter, I'm here to help the underdogs get started. But next quarter, it won't be underdog season. But I got to be where the underdogs are. I have to provide myself, show them value. But then most importantly, I have to situate myself so that they can understand that you can start here. I can help you get you going, because that's what's most important, you getting going. Not me making $297 on a session. I can make the $297 back in 5 course sales. If no, 2 course sales actually, you know.
Man, great advice on that. What do you think attracts you to the underdog? Because a lot of business coaches, brand strategists, they could just want top clientele,
Yeah.
so they could just get a bag. But what attracts you to actually provide value to people that's on the come up?
Sorry about that. My phone rang. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I remember, I've never forgotten who I was and where I was 2 years ago. I've been in business 5 years, but I hit a rough patch personally. This thing went up in smoke. I was like, oh, this business thing, oh, it can go. And so therefore, when I restarted over 2 years ago, I basically started from scratch. And, you know, because I had that mindset and understand that, I recognized that, you know what, I can't forget who I used to be. So my target audience and who I'm talking to the old me.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the person that started and then stopped because they got frustrated. I'm talking to the person that really wanted to get going, had the money, but didn't really know what to do. I'm talking to the person that has no idea where to start, because that has been me 2 or 3 times, you know? So that is, I think I answered that question right.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I understood, like, you know what, that's where I am right now. And I have no problem getting into the trenches with people, because I recognize I'm working with somebody right now that I give it less than a year. Man, probably make $2 million for this year ends. But I guarantee you, none of the rest of the top business coaches, or even business coaches at my level or a little bit higher, they wouldn't touch it. They like, nah, this is a mess. I'm not getting involved in. You know what I said? Jackpot. Because my goal is like not just to make money, but I see that, hey, I can't let this black man sit down or squander the gift that he has that could be so profitable for him, his family, his future. I can't let that go away. And now his quality of life has decreased. He's working a job that he shouldn't be working. He's doing everything except what I believe part of his purpose is. I can't do it. I mean, because I know that, because I move like that.
Yeah.
God ain't got no choice but to bless me. I mean, not saying that he has to, but my heart is in the right place. It's like,
that's right.
I'm not gonna let that man go down like that. I've been frustrated with him before, and I'm like, you know what? Still not gonna let him go down like that. Because if it was me, I would want somebody to not give up on me. Now I can't help every underdog. I won't walk hand in hand with every underdog, but I guarantee you, I'll give you the tools to get you moving and going. Like that's just where I am. That's in this season, that's my top priority. Let me get as many people started and going as I can, because a lot of people, I believe this, is not an issue of sustaining or executing. It's a matter of getting started. So if I can help 100 people in quarter 2 get started, I guarantee you probably 65 to 70 of those already have what it takes to see that thing all the way out. They just need guidance and a push and the correct direction on where to go. And that's where I come in.
That's amazing, man. Leah Rose, she asked a great question. Where do you recommend starting when you get multiple ideas that are beyond your reach?
That's a really good question. So Leah, the first thing I would ask you is, what's beyond your reach? Because I might have a hard time believing that every idea that you have is beyond your reach. Something is probably beyond your reach when you try to do it all simultaneously. But there is something in that list that should be top priority. But of course, I know I can't really break it all the way down with you, but I would love to talk to you, Aaliyah, because I guarantee you, if you got a list of 5, prioritizing that list of 5 and getting started is not the hard part. It's more so prioritizing it and that finding what am I going to put my time, my energy, and my resources into. And then, of course, doing the necessary research on the back end, because, I would love to say you can apply for grants and get them, and you very well could, but some of the stuff that we need to do to launch our businesses or kind of to invest into ourselves can be found out right amongst us.
That's great.
So,
yeah. And when it comes to content creators, I know that people get so overwhelmed with just creating content,
Yeah.
feeling like it's not good enough. How do we fight through those times of being discouraged? And then two, how do we plan out our content and not just be all over the place with like a message?
Definitely look. Now that you use a term that I have a session for that called the message map.
Oh, wow.
Because there's a direct connection between your message and your money. When your message is all over the place, your money will either not be there or to be slow. When your messaging is clear, your money will be more consistent once you kind of built that traction and kind of got into that groove. So there is a direct correlation between your messaging and your money, for sure. But what I do for content, so typically, you know, I'm a guy, I got a fro under this hat. I'm not gonna take the hat off.
Hey, I feel you.
I get my hair cut every Friday. So if I'm going to record some videos or I'm trying to give some knowledge and some information, I'm going to do that Friday from the hours of 1 to 3:30 or Saturday morning. So
when it's fresh.
Yeah. Because I recognize that, you know, I have to put forth some level of presentation or effort and keeping some things fresh and keeping some things moving and going. So I create my content like that. I batch it up all the time. So if I do my videos on Friday and Saturday of that week, that means the next time I'm creating written content or what I consider to be my tweets and my thoughts and my tips and stuff, I do all that stuff. I'll lay in the bed. I get in my most comfortable place. And I say, okay, you know what? I need to brain dump. And what I do is I go to my Twitter app and I dump all that stuff out there. So if you follow me, if you see like some of the tweets on my page, 9 times out of 10, some of that stuff is probably 2 to 3 weeks old, if not longer. But because I scheduled it. I say, you know what, Sunday night, I've already written in my planner for the week. Let me just relax, watch a little TV, and let me brain dump. Because now I'm brain dumping and I'm ahead of schedule. So now my thing is like, I'm operating from ahead of schedule. So even like today, I'm trying to get into this whole Instagram reel thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work well for me, but I was like, I'm determined to figure it out. So my thing is, if I don't get this reel done today, I'm going to pull one of the videos out of my queue to drop there, or a picture or something, you know, whatever I need to pull. So content creation, I think, is easiest and best done when you do it in batch. So for those of you guys that may need to create content as audio, or more visual, sit down, prop your phone up, get your camera, just change shirts, change hat, turn one hat to the back, you know, to put your black shirt on, put your jean jacket. I mean, like literally have a stack right there and knock it out like that. But of course, most importantly, planning it ahead of time. Like I mentioned earlier that my quarter of this year is for the underdog. So majority of my push and my talking points and my pain points are going to be for the underdog who is trying to start a business, looking to start a business, lost in business. So I'm basically going to be quietly talking about messaging, because if I can connect your messaging to you and in the right direction, now we're going to see some money coming in. So my quarter two is designated to that. So I would encourage anybody who needs to create content, like, what is your theme for the week? What is your theme for the month? Or is it for the quarter? Because I mean, not trying to be funny, you don't want to just put stuff out there. You want it to have a goal. You want it to have an end game. You know, Instagram is already only showing your content to 30% of your followers. Yeah. So you got to maximize that 30%, and it's probably going to change again. I think it's changed again to 10% now.
Yeah.
And 10%. Then now that it'll be exposed to more people based upon who engages. So that means you got to automatically know in your mind, my content should make people make a move, whether it's to like, comment, save, and share, or at least to save, share, send to a friend. Like, you want it to have some sort of movement. So you got to situate what you say, the questions you ask, the things you put out there, to get responses of some kind.
That's powerful. And that leads to my next question, second to last question. How do we build up that engagement? Because so many people post, and people, especially entrepreneurs, business coaches, get stressed when it's not a comment there. So how do we get consistent? And two, how do we build up that engagement as well?
Well, definitely. So some easy tools for engagement, for sure. The first one is any comments that you do get, respond with at least 4 words. 4 words, or 2 words and 2 emojis, or 3 words. Just give them 4 words at least. That always, of course, is the algorithm booster. But then secondly, you've got to, my personal opinion is that in the day and age where everything is so automated and everything is so pretty, everything is so clear and so crisp, everything's a girl boss, everything is this, is that, I think you've got to give people you. My brand and my digital imprint and my following has grown tremendously since I've allowed my followers to see me.
Mm.
Not the perfectly curated version of me, not the studio shoots, not the speaking engagements. I have had followers that have seen me standing on couches rapping Jeezy. I
Wow.
have had followers that see me inside the church with my hands lifted. Like, you have to allow people to be a part of you. That's why businesses hire brand ambassadors. They
Mm.
because you're not connected to a brand, you're connected to a person who is
Mm.
then connected to a brand.
Yep.
So there's a reason why Nike is plastering their outfits on Serena Williams, because those people who like Serena Williams will now buy it, not just because it's Nike, but more so because Serena was in it. So
Mm.
you're your own brand ambassador. You got to give people something to what they want to connect to. And I think versatility and balance is the thing. I don't care who you are, what you do, what your belief system is. If you can show people versatility and balance, they will draw into you. And this is why, because most people are naturally versatile and balanced.
Mm.
So when they see you having a measure of success, and they can identify this person has some qualities just like me, and they're able to do it, let me ask, okay, so how did you do it?
Mm.
Let me scroll your page and see what else is on there. Okay, let me end up on your website. Okay, let me put my email in. I'm going to join your mailing list. All right, you know what? They emailed me 5 times. I'm signing up for this thing. But all because they were able to see success in someone who was versatile and balanced. I mentioned earlier, I was the executive pastor of the church for 4 years.
Yeah.
So for 4 years, you would have thought that I was Jesus himself. You know, you only saw one side of me. But I recognized, not that I've changed my belief system or anything like that, I've identified that my social media platforms are a business tool for me. And so therefore, it's easier for me to connect with people when I give them more of the real me. So yes, you're going to get a chance to see me on vacation. Yes, you're going to see me out with friends. Yes, you're going to see me laughing. Yes, you're going to see some of the stuff that I laugh at, and not just the stuff that I send screenshot and put in my friends group. Nope, post a story. Because I want you to know that I'm laughing at the same thing that you're laughing at.
Human. I'm human.
Human.
Yeah.
Human. I have just figured out the cheat code for one lane of life, but I am just like you, and you can do this same thing too. So I think showing balance, showing versatility, allowing people to go on a journey with you. My friends laugh all the time, say, you post these gym pictures, they're just thirst traps. I said, no, I'm doing this because there's somebody somewhere that usually responds and say, you know what, I wasn't even going to go today. And my first response was, me either. Now get up and go.
Yep.
If I win, you can, so it's a source of accountability for me. It allows people to see that I am just like you. I am trying to get my life and my eating under control, and it's hard. I'm just like you. I have just found a lane in life where I have been able to unlock that thing and blaze in it. But guess what? Whatever your lane may be, it may be something like mine. But if it is like mine, guess what? You'll know who to go to because you've seen me pressing through at the gym. You've seen me having a good time. You've seen me give you the true impression or the appearance of what a joy and a happy life looks like. So of course I'll make the investment of a $500 session with you because I trust you. I've seen you. I've seen your Sunday morning playlist. I've seen your work and trap playlist. I've seen these different sides of you that makes me say, you know what? Okay, he listens to trap music on Monday mornings. I do too. You listen to yours in the car on the way to work. I'm listening to it from my bedroom to the living room where my desk is. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he does affirmations too? I affirm the hell out of myself every morning. He prays. I will pray you under a bus if I need to. I'm like, it's just kind of like, I'm okay. And I have embraced the fact that there are so many people who are balanced and versatile. And I am one. And I refuse to allow myself to not showcase that side of me because somebody needs to see that for me to help them get to the other side.
That's beautiful. And speaking on faith, which is a really big thing for you, what impact has you praying, you having faith had on your success as an entrepreneur, you giving back to the community, to creators, entrepreneurs?
Man, it's been the source. It's been the center of it all. I love my affirmations, but man, I pray before I read my affirmations. I read my scripture of the day before I go into my affirmation thing. So it's the core of who I am. But honestly, it's also kept me sober. It's kept me contained. It's kept me clear on, hey, you know what? I'm here to help people. Because I'll be honest with you, when you can make $20,000 off of a course, you quickly forget who your help is, who your source is, who is the center of your life, and who
Start to get
is
cocky
giving
a
you.
little bit.
You forget that God gave you all that you have. But I don't allow that to happen, and I think because I'm able to keep my relationship thriving, I have moments and seasons where I fall off, just like everybody else does. I'm not, inhuman, and I'm not super saved. I'm not little Jesus. I'm just Coach Ev, you know. But I recognize that that is it. So even when I'm having, when I'm not feeling like myself for long periods of times, I know what I got to go back to.
Yep.
All right, there's a disconnect between me and God, because when I start thinking about money or start thinking about stuff that I'm like, that ain't even me. That means at some point I've kind of disconnected a little bit, or at least just enough for me to start to make some changes in my thinking. And you have to be careful with that, because when you start to think different, you'll start to do. And so you got to control your thoughts, or at least be self-aware to know, hey, you know what? My thinking is changing, and I don't necessarily think it's the best thing. So let me kind of grab a hold to that to get an understanding, so I know what to curb and move around, because there's so much more for me to do, and I can't afford to let my mind go off into a lane that it shouldn't be in with me. And I know I'm called to help people. I'm here to help people.
That's a beautiful thing, man. Evan, thank you again for all the time. Before we bounce, my very last question: where do you see Evan, the business, the brand, everything within the next 5 to 10 years? And also, where can everybody follow you, keep up with your work, everything?
Man, okay, that's a great question. So in the next 5 to 10 years, I would say 5 or less. I would actually like to have successfully recreated myself. So that way I've basically launched an agency, not only that just does what the Vision Birther Size does, which is the creation portion. I want to be able to help service people like truly one-on-one. So even though I am a certified life coach and pastor and a business coach, I want to be able to have like a, you know, you can come to Vision Birthers or Coach Ed, whatever it may be, and then boom, you can select your track. So boom, you can get some life coaching here. You can get some executive coaching. You can get some corporate coaching. You know, I would love for it to go into that. It is going to go into the lane where I am able to do what I do, and most importantly, recreate myself so that I can help more people who need it in every lane of life. So that's where it'll be in the next 5 to 10 years. Prayerfully, or by then, I'll also have a yacht, and I'll live somewhere where it's always hot.
I feel you.
And I can eat chicken fried rice all day.
Hey, I'm for it.
That's my goal.
I love it. I love it. And Evan, man, again, thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. It's needed. It will be saved and posted onto YouTube. So I'll make sure to send it out to you when it's done. But thank you, man, for real.
No, thank you. And thank you guys so much for joining in. Listen, I appreciate you all listening. I pray that I've shared something that can help you all. My name is Coach Ed. Follow me on Instagram. Hit me on Twitter. It's Coach Ed. Add me on Facebook, Coach Ed. If you want to be a part of my personal journey, it's Evan S. Brown on Facebook. And then, of course, my website is www.coachev.com. And on there, you can do everything from get your book published and get that process going. Then get you some graphics, get your websites and all that kind of stuff going. But then last but not least, you can get a chance to sit down and allow me to help you strategize to and through where you are. Because I promise you, when you allow somebody else to kind of have a moment to see your blind spots, you are setting yourself up to win. And I'm somebody that is good at seeing blind spots, and I'm going to give you what you need because I want you to be a success. I want you to be a success. It's enough space and room and opportunity out there for us all to be successful in whatever that may look like. And I believe I'm the guy for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Evan, again, thank you, bro. Enjoy your night.
Absolutely.
And again, when this is posted, I got you, all right?
All right, man. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You as well.
3 Milli Pod Fam, you are a real one. You made it to the end of this episode. We cannot thank you enough for all the love and support. Before we bounce, as you guys see, you can click the subscribe button, the watch more videos button, tap in, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Comment below, tell us your favorite part of this video and why, and also let us know who else you would like for us to chop it up with. Make sure to buy my very first ebook, Unleash Your Creative Genius. Make sure to hit up my girlfriend Sid as well for her editing services. You can hit me up for consultations for your content strategy and content plans. And special thank you to our guests for always dropping gems. We're only getting started. It's just the beginning. Again, make sure to subscribe to our channel, share the vibe, share out our content. And again, thank you for always tapping in and for always supporting. We are always here. Let's talk in the comment section. Let's just chop it up. Much love. Keep grinding, keep shining, because you are important and you are special. We love you, 3 Milli Pod Fam. And it's just the beginning. Blessed be your host, Caleb Smith. And we out of here. Peace.